So, welcome to another cast. Here we are going to be watching another game by the guys in the Secret Forum. They're actually playing random draft at the moment, just against a random team. I'm joined by Dan from the Secret Forum, and he's just coming out of a reeling fight. He's just after finishing a captain's mode, which was quite tough. Dan, how are you feeling after that?
Ugh, I'd rather not talk about it, to be honest. It was a severely traumatizing experience for, I think, everybody involved.
So, taking a quick look anyway, we've seen the first pickup is going to be a Phantom Lancer anyway. That's going the way of the Radiant. So, taking a look straight away, we see the Zale more than likely is going to be taking up this Clockwork with a possibility of John coming up on the Sven. What do you think that kind of, just, I know it's early days yet, but kind of on the lineup at the moment, it kind of looks like that the Dire are considering going early to mid, whereas the Radiant are considering the late game.
Yeah, there's some interesting picks coming through. The Rubik and the Coddle pick, certainly. It's going to be interesting to see whether this goes the way of a trial lane over a more standard pickup. The other team clearly are going to be hoping on the Sven carrying through with the Clockwork to kind of bring things up and make sure the map's moving on. There's some heavy stuns picked up as well with the Lion and the Lena.
Definitely, it looks like they may be even considering a tri-lane themselves with an offlane clock. But going back anyway to the Keeper of Light and the Rubik pick, especially the Keeper of Light, he's such a nuisance in lane. Especially he coupled so well with the Phantom Lancer, is being able to give that Chakra magic just to keep the stun or to keep the nukes out from the Phantom Lancer. Rubik as well can secure the kills, he can keep people in position, and then we get this followed up by a Leshrac and a Skeleton King.
Yeah, we've got a Skeleton King who can definitely just survive on his own. You know, he's going to be free to stay in the lane. Well, if he's got a partner, that partner is going to be able to roam up. You know, that Skeleton King has a lot of staying power. We've got a Night Stalker who's almost certainly going to be the mid, and that's going to be picked by Chernobyl Kinsman there. So just running through the team that we've got here up in the Dire. We've got a Captain Bassoon, we've got a football expert here on the Sven. He's going to be this team's primary carry.
And there's the swap. John's actually, there was the swap there.
Oh yeah, we're
seeing swaps coming
there.
around left, right, and
John,
center.
the traditional number one carry for the Secret team. He's moved over onto the number one position there, so we're definitely going to be seeing that Sven carrying through. He's going to be the focus. We'll probably see the Bassoon, the Night Stalker. He's probably going to be going into the mid lane. And we've already seen Zale, the Clockwork. He's already moved down into the off lane, so I think we're going to see a tri lane here from the Dire side.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm feeling anyway. We know Zale is quite comfortable on his offlane solo. It's kind of where he excels. Taking a look over on the Radiant side, we have Frenzy taking up this Phantom Lancer, followed by Tima on the Keeper of the Light. It's looking more than likely that this Rubik on Reika is going mid. This is going to leave us with a Ace on the Leshrac and a Dog Days on the Skeleton King going top. So they're going for a more standard 2-1-2, which I don't know, I think they've kind of missed a trick here is with the pickup on that Leshrac, possibly they could have gone for something with more mid, and the Skeleton King is a good hero, but they could have had something a little bit more beneficial to possibly offlane.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We're seeing Leshrac, he's got early eyes on the rune there. He's going to grab it immediately and head back.
Now, this is one thing I've noticed, and we've been discussing about it a while, actually ourselves when we're actually playing. So we've noticed a lot of players have stopped doing what was so common, which is warding here up at the top room and warding the bottom rune, and then going to lane. That seems to have stopped. It seems you only ward whatever rune you're going to be closest to, and then that's it.
I think it makes sense. I mean, I think it means you're getting a lot more early heroes in on the actual fights at the start, especially when you're trialing, and that's going to be really important. Now, these guys haven't gone for the early gank, which was definitely an option for them. I mean, they're going to have 3 stuns from level 1, so I'm actually quite surprised they haven't gone for an early pick off, maybe on Leshrac, maybe on the low HP hero there. They're playing quite cautiously.
Definitely, and it is one of the heroes, is that especially the stun, the split earth on the Leshrac is one of the hardest stun stages, and here we go.
Oh, there they go.
And this is it. This is it. They need to follow it up with that Light Strike Array. And
yeah,
I think this is a big mistake from the Kinsman. He should have been in there.
He wasn't in the lane, and that delay as told there. You know, he had time to clear from 2 stack stuns and still get out of the lane before Kinsman had time to reach the Light Strike Array range.
And as I was saying now, this Keeper of the Light, he's gone straight away, he's gone the Chakra magic. All he wants to do is put it all into this Phantom Lancer. He doesn't want to be pushing the lane, he doesn't want to use his Illuminate, he just wants to keep this Phantom Lancer able to spam that Spirit Lance on top of the Clockwork.
Yeah, and those Spirit Lances, you know, come sort of 4 or 5 minutes into the game. I mean, you can see already those Spirit Lances, they're really going to be taking a toll on the Clockwork. I mean, he's pulled a lot of regen. If you look at him, he's pulled a lot of regen. But that's not going to last. You know, he is going to wear that down.
Definitely, definitely. And it's not a case that he's going to be able to get into position and take these heroes down. I don't think he's going to be able to get any early kills down here. Keeper of the Light with his Illuminate, if he goes into that cogs, he's essentially signing a death warrant. You have a Phantom Lancer who's going to be able to chuck out the Spirit Lances onto you, and then follow this by an Illuminate. It'll be a death for the Zale.
Yeah, just looking at the mid lane, I think we're going to see Night Stalker definitely dominating it. But the issue is you know, whether Rubik's going to play the smart game, whether he's going to be using his Fade Bolt to kind of remove the ability of the Night Stalker to do the last hits. In terms of rune control, you're already seeing, I mean, he's not even bothering, you know. Night Stalker, he's got the speed, he's got the mobility, he's going to be sort of dominating the whole
We see
area.
some action up here at the top, sorry to cut across you there, and this is more better. And again, the Lina is out of position. If she can get up this Light Striker, and there we go. Oh, it's being fluffed again.
That's a
But
great juke.
they've secured the
That's a
kill.
great juke by Leshrac, but it's not going to be enough, and that's going to be a first blood secured.
I don't even know if I would even consider that a juke by the Leshrac. That the Hex slows him down so much. The Light Striker Ray was on top of this torch here, and the Leshrac was sitting by the trees. But that's what they need to do. They have the control in this lane. They have the stuns. They have the damage. They need to keep it going. Now, I kind of feel that this Rubik, his plan is to just get a bit of damage out, get some levels, and then roam. He doesn't need to get anything more from this lane. The only problem is that's going to leave this Night Stalker to do the damage he needs to do.
Yeah, that Rubik is going to be all over the place. But then, you know, any good Night Stalker, you're going to see the same from him. I mean, he is one of the most roaming mids that you're going to find in the game. You know, I mean, once the first night hits, I mean, he needs to be getting those kills. He needs to be going into the bottom and top, and he needs to be securing those kills. Otherwise, you know, he's going to be wasted.
And we're going to see the first night is coming up and down in 15 seconds, so we're going to keep an eye on this this Night Stalker and see how it's going. But just taking a quick look at the last hits at the moment, the Rubik is out last hitting this Night Stalker by a huge margin. He's more than double. Next, taking up like this, the Phantom Lancer is coming next. The guys at the radio, the dire side, they're not even coming close. And we're going to see some damage put out into this Rubik here.
Yeah, it's not going to be a real threat, you know, at this early level. Again, you're sort of seeing the influence the Rubik can have in terms of the Fade Bolt is really sort of influencing the last hits that the Night Stalker can put out.
Definitely. Now, I don't know if I agree with this, with the Kinsman. He's trying to set up the stack here, but the only problem is he's not even level 2. He's sitting out of lane, he's falling very hard behind. And it's not a case, it's not the same as it was before where it was a medium camp there, it's a small camp. He's not going to get the same experience. And Lina is so useful throughout the whole game, and especially when she gets that ult up. She's missing out on it, she does not have her Dragon Slave here, and that's where she's going to be able to put out the burst damage.
Yeah, the ult is going to be the real issue here, because that's what you really need to be bringing online for Lina very, very early on. And as you say, I mean, the lack of XP she's going to get from the pulling, it's going to make a real difference to her. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, how early she gets that up and what kind of damage she can do with it. But at the minute, it looks like, you know, by the time we start getting effective team fights on both sides, Lina isn't going to be level 6.
Definitely. I can imagine just taking a look at the way things are going. The Clockwork down the bottom, Nerdy has his hook. I can imagine that their TeamSpeak is exploding with him screaming for ganks. That Night Stalker needs to leave that lane. He has 2.5 minutes left on his night, and he hasn't left the lane. He needs to be moving.
Yeah, I mean, we're 2 minutes into the first night, and we haven't seen the Night Stalker leave the lane. We're seeing Clockwork. He's kind of thinking about making some moves through the river. I don't know whether he's thinking about maybe coming into mid, but it needs to be the other way around. I mean, that Night Stalker needs to be all over the place during this first night. You know, he needs that. I mean, this is the point of his biggest advantage.
Taking a look though, as the way experience is going anyway, it's just after leveling it out, but it has pulled into the favour of the Dire. It was initially, it was the Radiant, but now it has pulled back in, but it has evened out, so we'll see kind of how it progresses. At least the guys they are last hitting well, they're keeping on top of the game, but that kill going their way is great, but the only problem is they're not capitalising on it. They need another kill, they need a kill top, they need ganks, and this is perfect. That's what they needed, but that hook missing is a big deal. And we should see a cogs here.
Oof. That is a missing
And
cog.
that's
That's
at least
that's a big gamble.
only thing is, I think Night Stalker knew he was dead. He thought he would secure the kill, and at least he got the kill before the Rubik got the kill on him. So the gold experience goes his way.
I mean, we had those cogs sitting the whole time. I wonder if kind of the idea from Clockwork was that maybe we wouldn't need them at this point in the game. I mean, at the end of the day, it was a 2 versus 1. They definitely had the advantage, but I mean, he did very well in terms of kiting the Night Stalker onto the tower, and it just goes to show that that didn't come out for either side, I don't think.
Definitely. The only thing is now whether we can talk about this till the cows come home. But would the Night Stalker have died if the Clockwork had used his cogs? He had the tower hitting on him. He was very low. TK came out. That's more damage coming out. Even if the Rubik died while he was TK'd, the tower was waiting on him. Was it the right decision to not use the cogs? I can't really tell for sure. It's not like he would have needed the mana and the cooldown would reset by the time he went to Nears to do anything else.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there's obviously an argument for saving a big spell or for saving your mana for something else that comes up. At the end of the day, the cogs is probably the least mana-intensive spell the Clockwork has. It really should be used in every gank, pretty much regardless of the circumstances, unless it's going to make itself actually more difficult for you to secure the kill. It's pretty much the default spell to go to with only 50 mana cost. So I was very surprised not to see it. We're seeing Bassoon going for the double damage round down the bottom, so we'll see what
That
comes
seems
out
like
of this.
he's possibly going to pick up this Keeper of the Light if he gets in there. They need. This is what they need to do. This is what's making sense now. Night's about to end, but they need to get a kill here. Keeper of the Light has been very smart. He's getting the damage out and he's leaving. They're going to go in this
Got
Phantom
no
Lancer,
vision
but
for the Phantom Lancer here.
if they can keep him there, they're fine. But that's a misclick right
Yep,
there.
there you go. There's the no vision. It's paying off. I mean, you have to expect that from Phantom Lancer. He is going to have at least one.
Oh,
round
and a
of
big
double
catch
lock.
there from the Zale. And this is going to be a dead Phantom Lancer. I don't know, I think Night Stalker should not have switched. He should not have focused on that. They should have taken the Keeper of the Light. They should have gotten out. Fair enough, they got their kills, but now they run the risk of being caught here, and more than likely this Night Stalker is going to go down.
Oh, Night Stalker. He's on the run here. He doesn't seem to know what he's doing.
They just need vision, and more than likely we get a lift, and this should be the kill.
Yeah, there it is.
Although,
The Phantom Lancer has no mana here, so if he just runs...
oh, that's the
no,
brilliant
he'll
play.
get out there. He'll get out there.
And that's a brilliant play from the Night Stalker. He was very overexposed there, he was very far in the front, but he kept his head, he kept cool, he got into a position where he knew he could do it, and he silenced the right person there.
It was great TPs there from the Rubik. It really changed that up from being a potentially both of those ganks down at bottom and turning in and just losing the Keeper of the Light. And they were very unlucky not to secure the kill on Night Stalker. Where you're seeing almost immediately how the lack of vision is going to start hampering this team. You know, that should have been a gank on the Phantom Lancer there. We had no vision to secure it. You know, I mean, he's been in the lane the whole time. You know, there needs to be sentry wards up.
Even taking a look at kind of the way the ward vision is at the moment, Dire, they've invested so heavily in the top lane, and that's not where the action is, that's where the farm is. Nothing's happening up top. All they are doing, they're sitting back and they're poking at each other. There hasn't been a kill since that first one earlier on. It's possible we might see something happen here, follow-up stun, perfect, and in comes Larendor, that's a kill. That's what they needed.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, with those trio of stack stuns, you're not going to be able to really do anything against them. And then that's just going to be a straight kill. Every time that you wander into range, that's going to be a kill. And they need to really take advantage of that, because that's going to start disappearing in the later levels.
Definitely. And they well capitalize on that. It's one of the things, it is so difficult to do, even if you have a voice communication, is timing those stuns, and that was perfect. Sven stun hit, it was just about to end. Light strike array. Larendor was slightly out of position on the line, but he got in time, and he has that range stun, and it was perfect. Taking a look again, we're going to go through just the gold at the moment. It's been up and down. It's kind of in the favor of the Dire at the moment. The XP graph is now showing that it's heavily favoring the Dire. Taking a look at the last hits, Phantom Lancer and Rubik still are the top. Rubik should not be the top. No matter where he is, he should not be the
going
top.
in with Phantom Lancer down at the bottom.
That's a big
gonna be
pickup.
kill. He
That's a
managed
big
to cog
pickup.
him under the vision of the tower. He tried to double walk away. It wasn't going to do him any good. He was stuck under the cogs and under the tower vision. That was a great pickup. That was very out of position by that Phantom Lancer.
And this is what we kind of need to see. Lion, Lena, they secure kills. There's no such thing as kill stealing. They secure the kills. He comes in, he TP'd down, perfect awareness, got it in, secured that kill. Especially against a hero like a Phantom Lancer, you want them dead.
and we're seeing Kinsman kind of chase off the Rubik there. I'm assuming he was trying to. Oh, he actually did. He managed to place the ward there. So they've got some good vision there now of the creep camps as well. We're seeing 3 Dire players rotating on the top.
Don't know if they have the damage here to do it, but this is a good rotation in. Can they save the John? Huge stuns, huge stuns. They need to focus down a target. This is one of the mistakes they tend to make, is that they get confused and they focus the wrong target, and because of that, we're after missing a chance there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, they focused on rotating down to kill that Skeleton King there, probably the most tankiest player that they've got at the minute, despite the fact that Leshrac was sitting here in half health. He was channeling all of his spells, he was dealing some serious damage there, and he was the key target. You saw they were kind of diffusing their damage there. Yeah. So really just more communication is needed there for the Dire.
Like, I definitely feel the Night Stalker, he did go on the target that they needed to do. He took down the Skeleton King. I don't know if Skeleton King, if he had the mana for his, or if he's just after getting 6, or whether he would have got his Resurrect. But that's one of the kind of things you have to be so careful with the Skeleton King, is he going to come back?
Well, the thing with Skeleton King sitting there, you know, he's sitting there comfortably into level 6, nearly into level 7 on full mana as well. You know, you have to raise the question of, is it worth, you know, killing a Skeleton King if he's on 25% health, or is it worth ignoring him and going for the other 2 supports, especially when you've got somebody like Leshrac sitting there. You know, he's laying out the stuns, he's laying out some serious damage as well if you're just letting him sit there. He's a, you know, he's very fragile, but he's very dangerous as well.
We're looking up, they want something up top. We have the Clockwork in here, he's ready to engage, and if they catch anyone, if they get anyone with his hook, they're dead. It's so much follow-up stun. Now the only problem is with something like this, when you're trying to set up a kill, how long is too long? He seems to be moving.
Yeah.
Oh, they seem to be coming back, and then this should be a kill if they get this hook.
They're just kind of flirting with the edge of vision here, but Zeal's, oh, he's given the vision, but is he going to go on for the hook on the left back? No, he's not.
Oh, he does, and he picks up, and that's perfect.
He's on the tower range, the left back is going to go down very quickly.
Doesn't matter.
The question is whether they can defend Zeal. Yep, no, he's fine. That's going to be a good pickup.
That's exactly what they want. You can even see the Skeleton King threw out the stun. It does nothing. He has nothing to follow it up without that Leshrac. Picking the Leshrac off is so good. The only problem is now the Phantom Lancer is sitting bot. He's been killed once. He's kind of left to free farm. They need to be careful of this Phantom Lancer.
Just having a look at the Phantom Lancer, you can see him, he's going for his Diffusal Blade. He's got his 2 blades already. He's got his Power Treads. So he's doing pretty well for himself, you know. I mean, he's going to come online with the Diffusal Blade fairly shortly, and that is going to be very difficult for this team once he gets it. They're very mana dependent, all of them.
One of the nice things as well, once he gets that Diffusal Blade off, he can comfortably go into the jungle and farm it effectively. He will be able to pull up those clones so quickly. The Diffusal Blade is such a nice increase to his DPS.
We're seeing Phantom Lancer come in top here, we're going to see something done.
Don't know if it's a smart decision for him to go up. He was happy out where he was. Yeah. And that's, they should have kept the Phantom Lancer down the bottom. Got no kills, and now it's possible that they could lose even more. Now this Night Stalker should not have gone in there. He's a very risky. He had no backup.
Do you mean that's worked out okay? I mean, you've taken some gold away from the PL. You know, you've forced him to sacrifice his TP, and you haven't lost anybody. You've killed the Leshrac, you know, which is really what your aim is going to be in the top lane. You know, don't worry about the Skeleton King. Just kill the Leshrac and focus on getting those levels down on him.
Skeleton King won't carry as well against the Sven. If they had similar farms, similar items, Sven will take him down. The fact is that his ult, his God Strength, is just, it's phenomenal. It gives him such burst damage, and if he has that Mask of Madness up, he can rip a Skeleton King down. He can take him down twice if he wants.
Rock it on!
So we're seeing the lane start to devolve a little bit here. John's on back in it. We've got 2 people farming in the jungle actually. Zeal's still trying to push up the bottom lane a little bit, but really, you know, he's not going to do much Clockwork. He's got his Flare, which can push it up a little bit.
I think that this is a little bit of frustration that they're moving into the jungle. They're kind of afraid to go into that lane just because it seems to be contested now. But they need to stay there.
We've got a gang going on at bottom here. We've got 3 people coming in, and they haven't seen them.
This
could be very bad.
This is 4 coming in. This is going to be a death.
Because it looks like they're really falling for it.
They get the follow-up stun from the Leshrac. Oh, and they can. That's a beautiful stun. And the stolen finger of death on the Rubik. Brilliant play. They lose one, but at the same time, they're allowing the rest of the guys to get their farm up.
Yep, that's a great pickup for them. Again, you're kind of seeing, Dire pushing the bottom tower, which again is fine, but they've got no vision within the
Dyer's bottom tower
the bottom jungle, so they have no idea whether anybody's coming down. Nobody was on the map, so somebody should have called it back for that.
Definitely. Taking a look at Larendor, I think, is after wasting a TP there. He didn't need to be there. They can't really contest this. He has no mana, he has nothing to do anything. He was very close to losing his life there.
John, you can see the Sven he's got his Mask of Madness up. He's going to be getting it shortly. You can see he's going to be rushing Black King Bar shortly after his Mask of Madness. It's fairly standard. He's even with the Phantom Lancer on the kills, but we're seeing that everybody else in the team, especially that Night Stalker, is falling pretty far behind him.
Yeah, definitely. Their saving grace is going to be the Suspend, but I don't think he can push into the late game as far as that Phantom Lancer can. And the Radiant are doing a great team here. They're doing what they need to be doing. They're protecting the Phantom Lancer. They're keeping people off him.
Dyer's middle tower.
I think Sven is a great pickup against Phantom Lancer, purely because.
And there's the Sven gone. Is he safe? Can he turn out and give out the stun? No.
No, Sven is TP'd him. He's great now.
And again, we see they're focusing on the wrong targets. They need to turn now. They need to take out someone who's not going to come back in the face, and that's a huge ult. A little bit of indecision there from the Skeleton King. He was considering that he could go back and get that clockwork, and that's after costing his life. Brilliant play from the Dire here. They took a bad situation and they turned it.
They've traded the Sven there. That Sven came in and they immediately nuked. They knew he was the highest priority target, and they immediately started nuking him down. And they took him out very early on in the fight, but the rest of the team was able to easily make up for the difference there. Especially when you start seeing Night Stalker come online with those silences, those slows.
Biggest thing, I'm going to have to give the kudos to the Rubik there. He's very on the ball with his spell steal. He managed to TK the Sven, but he also managed to get the stun off the Lion and then keep that stun going. Sven was away there if it was not for the fact that they had that follow-up stun.
Yeah, that's going to be the real key to this game. I mean, there is a lot to seal on the Dire side. I mean, there are some fantastic spells. It's going to be interesting to see whether we see Rubik kind of, once the initial game is over, are we going to see him rush for an Aghanims? Because I mean, there's a lot of potential for that there.
Definitely, and it's strange when you consider that generally people pick Rubik as a counter to big ults, to things like Tide Hunter, Warlock, Void, that you want to get these big ults that's going to turn the tide. But this Rubik is a great pick because, as you say, there's so many spells you can steal that's just as effective, shorter cooldowns, and that he can just spam it.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be getting a spell every 6 seconds if he gets that Aghanims, and it's going to be the basic spells that are really telling him. It's going to be the stun, it's going to be the hook, it's going to be the impale or the light strike array. And those spells are going to turn the tide of a battle.
And it's not the same like, let's say, a Warlock playing against a Rubik. They know that they have to drop that rock and they have to get a Fatal Bonds off or something. It's not the same when it comes to like a Lion or a Lina. What are they going to do? Are they going to throw out a stun and then mana drain? It's not effective. They're not going to be doing that in a battle.
That's exactly it. We're seeing both teams kind of concentrate around the middle lane here. Really, I'm not terribly bothered about pushing on the lanes. They're kind of dividing and conquering here. They're kind of splitting up. We're seeing as well, we've got some good runes down now, or we've got some good roars down now from the Dire side.
This is a big pickup from the Zale, but he has no support. Oh, and there's the vision. That's what they need. Oh, and he's been pushed out. That's so unfortunate.
That's very
They need to back out of there. They've stayed too long already.
But again, look at the Night Stalker. He doesn't
Caught kind of position. And they're coming back in. John should have been gone out of there. They needed to leave. Once that Night Stalker had passed those trees, he was dead to them. They should have just left.
Yeah, John, I appreciate what he was doing. He was trying to get the last second save on the Night Stalker. Again, the Night Stalker, he thought, right, well, we've gone this far, I really want to get a kill out of it, but you have to play the long game in this. You have to kind of think about, right, well, that's fine, we've got nobody, we'll leave it for another time.
One of the hardest things to Dota is not the micro, it's not the last hitting. It's getting over your own greed. It's one of the hardest things. You think you can get a kill, you try and go in, and when it turns on you, it's so hard to put up with.
It's especially difficult when you're playing people like Sven, Night Stalker, Phantom Lancer. These are the people that are famous for being able to go in against groups of people and being able to survive. And it's a question of knowing, what your limits are.
And you kind of feel like, I'm playing a hero that's so good at ganking, I should be ganking. I need to get in there. And Again, the Night Stalker is putting so far forward, he has no idea where they are.
They really wanted a Phantom Lancer there. They thought they had him. They had the Doppelwalk illusion. They dusted him. Unfortunately, he'd already evacuated by that point.
Definitely. Taking a look at the lanes now is that they are kind of pushing up in favour of the Dire. The only problem is now this Phantom Lancer, for the past 5 to 10 minutes, he hasn't been farming. He's been staying in these team fights, which I think is a huge mistake. He needs to get big, and he needs to get big fast. Sven, at this stage, is far ahead of him.
Radiant's middle tower
Once that
is under
BKB comes up on
attack.
this Sven, he's going to be able to do a
In
lot
case you
more
weren't
damage.
paying attention.
Thing is, well, Sven is a team fight carry. You know, with that stun, with all of the cleave he has, he is somebody that is a real contributor to these 5v5s they've been having. Phantom Lancer less so until he starts leveling up, until he starts getting his Diffusal Blade, Manta Style, things like that. He's very much kind of it's a 4 protect 1 kind of hero. So realistically, you know, Sven has the advantage so long as Phantom Lancer isn't saying, right, well, I'll leave you guys to it, I'll go farm.
This is an unconventional dust. I don't know. They have no idea of where they are. I think they're just taking a shot in the dark here. And I think this is going to be a waste. In my opinion, this Phantom Lancer should be completely ignoring the rest of his team. He should pick a lane, push it, get back, rinse, repeat. That's what he needs to do. Skeleton King is there to be the beef. They have so much nuke potential. They have so much stun potential. Versus, let's say, the 5 of the Dire. Dire do have quite similar the same, as they have so much stun, there's so much potential, but they need to give that Phantom Lancer space. He needs his farm, otherwise he's going to peter off.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think seeing the real difference here, I mean, we've got the number 1 carries on the other side, we've got the Sven, we've got the Phantom Lancer. I think we're seeing Sven kind of understand his role a lot better than the Phantom Lancer. You know, he's backing off from the situations. If there's not a fight imminent, he's gone. He's into the jungle, he's into the lane, he's getting his farm, he's getting his creep kills. You know, he's moving along in the game, whereas you're seeing Phantom Lancer kind of bumble along with the rest of the team. And that's fair enough for your support.
He's gotten pretty stagnant. Like, he's sitting there with the 5 and they're pushing a lane. He's not getting enough experience. He's not even going in for last hits. He's wasting his time with this team.
We've got a difference of 20 last hits now between Sven and Phantom Lancer, and previously it wasn't just in that Phantom Lancer's favour.
Sven really itching to go in there. If he had,
that's unfortunate about it, John. John chucks the stun in, but it hits the creep. It doesn't even do anything.
That's a pity. He really wants to go in, but I think he needs to wait for this BKB. He needs to rein himself in and wait for that BKB. And that's a big initiation from the Zale. This is going to be the Skeleton King gone. Not the hero they want to get. And that's a double stun from the Leshrac, which is a brilliant pickup. They have nothing to follow this up though. The Skeleton King is back. Why is he leaving? He should have turned. He should have been there. Now this is the problem, is they were out. They should have left. Fair enough, they've protected. They've got the Dodge Master out, which is who they need to get out. But a possible mana leak here could be a big issue. And there's the stuns. That's the steals that we need to see. And this is a dead Night Stalker. And the kill's going the way of the Phantom Lancer. That's going to pull it back towards him.
That's just unfortunate. You're seeing there, you know, they're baiting the Skeleton King in, and they're going for the Skeleton King, and that's fine. But remember how tanky Skeleton King is just in one life, and he is the tankiest member of their team. Well, all the other members of the team are bringing the damage. So they bring the Skeleton King down, that's fine. Then they're slowed. They can't go in on any of the other members because most of the damage dealers are melee. By the time the Skeleton King's back up, they haven't actually killed any supports yet, and you're just back to square one, except all your spells are on cooldown. They're getting really baited into these kills, and I'm not even sure if that was intentional, because you saw that really weird retreat by the Skeleton King there.
Yeah, he was so unsure of himself. He should have been up saying, I'm ready to go. Back up, full health, full mana. This clockwork is low, he's fine.
I mean, you have to be using that reincarnation as an offensive spell. You have to understand, it's a really difficult mindset to get into. But once you understand that you effectively have an Aegis all the time, and it doesn't matter if you die, you know, it really adds another avenue in terms of your tactics.
Fair enough, it's a long cooldown when it's at level 1. When he gets that to level 3, a minute cooldown, that's an Aegis every minute as long as he has the mana, and he will have the mana.
I think ideally what we were seeing from the Dire was just, you know, pick up the Skeleton King, and then leave him. You know, that's fine. You've taken the reincarnation off cooldown. You've got 2 minutes or something to do something. And if you don't do anything, that's okay. You haven't lost anything. And if you do something, well, you've got the kill. But regardless, they've lost a lot of, kills there, for real no gains. You know, I mean, it doesn't really matter if the spell's on cooldown or not if you don't have the capacity to actually push.
Definitely. And this is what we don't want to be seeing here. We do not want to see this line in this jungle. He needs to get out. He needs to leave the space for the Sven. Taking a look at just even back on that fight that we had up top, the momentum of the game has slowed right down, and I think it's actually balanced out again. It was swinging so much in favour of the Dire there. They had great potential to keep it going, but they kind of got unsure of themselves in that fight up there. I don't know whether, I can imagine is that Team Sekrit was exploding while that hook went out because he caught someone. There wasn't the support there. Clockwork lost most of his life before the rest of his team got there. And as you said, it was following up the stuns onto a Skeleton King. It doesn't matter if he dies. The Night Stalker was way out of position. He came in too late. He didn't need to come in. He was away from the fight. They all should have backed. We saw Lena coming back in, trying to help out, but only end up losing her life then. Sven managed to get out, the Lion managed to get out, but they didn't need to lose all those heroes. They should have let that Clockwork die, and they would have survived with 4.
Yeah, that's exactly it, and you're kind of seeing the strategic benefits of Skeleton King come online. I mean, without reincarnation, it doesn't matter if he dies. You know, you can kill him once, it doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, with the kind of tankiness that he has, I mean, killing him is effectively the same as killing another hero. Certainly compared to killing Leshrac or something like that, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder to kill.
That's a big mistake by the guys down here.
They're still
going
for the Skeleton King every time.
They came down, they saw that the illusions were farming, but that Phantom Lancer, he was gone. He knew there was no point in being there. His illusions were farming. They wasted a dust, they've wasted a night.
I mean, we really haven't seen anything definitive yet. I mean, we're seeing John, he's still pulling ahead on the farm, I think, compared to Phantom Lancer, but... And again, as I've said, Sven is going to be if you're seeing an equally farmed Sven and an equally farmed Phantom Lancer, you're going to see a really even matchup. With that cleave coming through, he's going to be really good against the kind of grouping of the various illusions and stuff. He's going to find out exactly which one it is, and he's going to damage him regardless.
The only problem now is
at the bottom here.
They have the BKB up on that Sven. If it gets to the later of the game when this Phantom Lancer is just pumping out illusions, his BKB is going to finish so quickly that the stuns are going to come out thick and fast, and he's going to melt. The PL just can put in so much damage. He's probably going to have to be refreshing that BKB in order if he wants to stay in this game. This is a pick out on the Clockwork, out of position, and he's gone. Oh, and they're after backing out. But there's the kill secure.
Fair enough. Phantom Monster, he was ready to finish it, he was hanging around, he didn't want to go in just in case it gets picked off. But he's there to finish the job just in case he got out. It's a really good pick-off, and you're seeing some really dodgy hooks in. I mean, the Dire team are not ready for these hooks.
I know, I think that was even, the Clockwork was coming up the river here, and he got spotted by the Rubik. Rubik said, I'll have a bit of you. Took him up, and he was killed. He panic-cogged here, he couldn't really do anything. The only thing possibly he might have been able to get himself out, but when you have a hero like Phantom Lancer who just has such a good spell in the Spirit Lances that he can follow up, you can try and run away, you're on low health, he's going to get you. And we can see that this Phantom Lancer is going straight survivability. He's getting that hard up, he wants it.
Yeah, that's interesting going hard. I mean, I've seen it done before, it's interesting. Generally, I mean, if you're going for the Fusel Blade, I personally, whenever I play Phantom Lancer, I'd normally be going for Manta Style first. I would normally be going for the damage first, because realistically, I mean, look at him. He hasn't been killed that much. He's not being targeted. He's got the escapes. They haven't really focused him down that much. Does he really need the heart at this point, or does he need to be contributing more?
I see exactly where you're coming from, but if you look at the way that this Phantom Lancer is actually playing at the moment, he's not doing a stereotypical Phantom Lancer role where you're greedy, you stay away from your team, and you push lanes. He's not doing that. So I think he's considering going for the heart first and then getting the things like the...
This is